What up, Ring Crew Army, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Squared Circle Podcast. I am your host, Marie Shadows, and on this episode of the Squared Circle Podcast, we will still be going over New Japan Pro Wrestling, the Road to Castle Attack series. Today I cover match 2, which was a 8-man tag. On one side, we have Bullet Club. The other side, we have Chaos. For Bullet Club, it was Tama Tonga, Loa, G.o.D, and Chase taking on Yano, Yoshihashi, G.o.D, and Sho. And then I will be going over the main event on that same card, which featured a tag team match. We have, again, Bullet Club versus Chaos. On one side is Jay White teaming up with Evil to take on Ishii and Okada, who represents Chaos. But that main event will be in another podcast episode. I do not want to overwhelm you guys with so much wrestling. As always, I look for feedbacks and comments and thoughts about what you guys think about New Japan Pro Wrestling so far, what you think about the Road to Castle Attack series, and just how well I give you all the information, and hope that my podcast episodes bring you some type of value into your everyday listening lives. Aside from that, there are some housekeeping notes that you guys need to know. If you guys have not been following New Japan Pro Wrestling as much, well, Hiromu has now suffered a injury in his left chest muscle, and that's very unfortunate. I was looking forward to talking about Hiromu versus El Phantasmo as an honorable mention on this podcast when they would have faced each other during Castle Attack Night 2, but Hiromu is now going to be out of action for 6 to 12 months, and I wish Hiromu a speedy recovery so we can get him back into the ring and have some more amazing matches and some really amazing backstage comments. I will also try to be getting done a article for previewing Castle Attack Night 1 and Night 2 and everything you need to know about these matches. It might end up as a podcast as well, just because I like talking about wrestling, and talking is the quickest way other than writing, but I need to flex my writing skills as much as I can. Either way, look out for a preview for Castle Attack Night 1 and 2, and then go wish Hiromu a speedy recovery on social media. And these podcast episodes going forward will be audio and video based. So if you're not following me over on the YouTube side, we're currently at 60 subscribers. I need to get to 100 subscribers. So I need 40 more in order to get that special URL. So I could just tell you head over to youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast, and you can listen to all of my wrestling reviews there. And then if you're also a fan of Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and just want to listen to audio format, head over to any of those, search for Square Circle Podcast, or just go directly to anchor.fm/Square Circle Podcast to listen to this episode, more, and definitely the backlogs. So let's jump right into this 8-man tag. Again, we have Bullet Club facing Chaos, and all of these men are in singles action for Night 1 of Castle Attack. And it's going to be a very interesting matchup and story progression after those singles matches take place. And then for Night 2, we go right back into tag team action. But currently in this match, Bullet Club starts things off by attacking Chaos. Tama and Loa are attacking G.o.D and Yoshihashi. Those will be their opponents come for Night 1 of Castle Attack. We have double Irish whips from Tama and Loa, but Yoshi reverses, so it's G.o.D shoulder tackling into Tama. Yoshi and G.o.D do double kicks and then send Loa into the ropes, double shoulder blocks, and then the assisted hip toss from G.o.D to Yoshi onto Loa. Tama tries to go after Yoshi or G.o.D. However, G.o.D stops him, kicks him in the gut, and maintains wrist control, bringing Tama down to the mat. Yoshi then leaps over G.o.D with a single stomp onto Tama's midsection, then double knees to Tama from both men, and Tama rolls out of the ring. All members of Chaos do their patented windmill forearms to G.o.D and then chase. Sho comes in with kicks to Loa, but Loa picks up Sho for a powerbomb. G.o.D throws Sho into the barricade. Chase throws Yano into the barricade as well and chokes him a little bit with the strap. This coming Castle Attack Night 1, it will be Yano versus Chase Owens in a strap match. And you guys can definitely vote for the stipulation over on the NJPW Global official Twitter account. I just think that it should be a regular strap match. Yano, no one has time for your stipulation of taking off the turnbuckles instead of just tapping them to win the match. G.o.D manages to hit Show with a candlestick. Loa throws G.o.D back first into the apron. Tama took out Yoshi, walks over to give Yano a punch. Right now, there is a little bit of chaos, no pun intended, in this part of the match where everyone is hitting everyone and the referee is trying to regain some control. And the referee does, so we have Loa tags in G.o.D while he has Show in the Gory special. G.o.D comes in and chops Show's chest. And then finally, Loa lets him go and goes outside of the ring. Old school rope burn to Show's face by G.o.D. G.o.D with the headlock and then a shoulder tackle by G.o.D once Show tries to get some type of momentum. But again, that doesn't happen. G.o.D comes in with that shoulder block. G.o.D then tags in Tama. Tama comes in with a back body drop and then a jumping elbow to Show. Tama then tags in Chase. Chase throws Show into the corner, leaping forearm, and then a clothesline. Chase then goes for a cover on Show, only for Show to kick out at 2. Then there are strikes between Show and Chase. Show manages to get a spear on Chase, and this allows Show to get the tag in on Yano. Yano comes in, automatically takes off the turnbuckle. Both Chase and Yano argue about who to put down the turnbuckle and the strap respectively. So both men are holding these weapons and they're not supposed to be using it in the match. So they decide to, on the count of 3, to toss their weapons. However, when it does get to the count of 3, Yano does toss away the turnbuckle. However, Chase still has the strap in his hand and tried to hit Yano with it. However, the referee takes the strap away from him, and this allows Yano to hit Chase in the back of the head, which is not a very good idea to do that to anyone, let alone Chase in this match. So both men are countering their attacks until Chase is able to do a jumping knee to Yano. And during some more exchanges, Yano manages to pull Chase down by the hair. And now we get Yoshi and Tama tagged into this match. Yoshi comes in with a flurry of elbows and then does a hurricanrana to Tama Tonga. There's a chop, a short arm clothesline, and Yoshi tries for a neck breaker, but Tama smartly elbows Yoshi in the back of the head. Tama and Loa do their combination attack on Yoshi, which is punch to the gut, then an open palm strike, and then the gun stun. They do the same thing to G.o.D. Chase comes in with a big boot to Yano. That knocks Yano off the apron. Bullet Club has now singled out Yoshihashi in the middle of the ring. We have Tama with his punch to the gut. G.o.D comes in with a kick. Loa comes in with a back body drop. And Chase comes in with a shining wizard. G.o.D goes for the cover and Yoshi kicks out at 2. G.o.D then transitions Yoshi into the crossface. She gets to the rope, causing a rope break. G.o.D has Yoshi in the ropes, does a kick, and was about to do a move until Yano comes in and stops that. Chase then comes into the ring and kicks Yano to the outside. Show comes in with a jumping kick. Tama comes in with the Tonga twist on Show. Loa and Tama double team against G.o.D. G.o.D breaks through their clothesline attempt, and G.o.D gives a forearm to Tama. Loa tries to go for a kick. However, G.o.D sidesteps and lariats Loa. G.o.D then gets Tama in a fireman's carry, but Tama struggles to break free and tries to attack G.o.D. However, G.o.D sidesteps, and that allows Tama to run into Yoshihashi's super kick. And this allows G.o.D to pick up Tama once again so he can do the assisted Ushigoroshi net breaker. This means that Yoshihashi will once again kick Tama Tonga in the head, and therefore G.o.D will do an elevated shoulder neck breaker to Tama, applying more hurt to one half of G.o.D. G.o.D then comes in and gets heel kicked by Yoshi. G.o.D then gets G.o.D ready for an assisted Russian leg sweep, where Yoshihashi is going to come in with a running neck breaker, and that will allow the momentum for G.o.D to fall back for this Russian leg sweep on G.o.D. G.o.D then kicks out of the pin attempt by Yoshihashi, and once that happens, Yoshi switches over to the butterfly lock submission on G.o.D. This causes G.o.D to then tap to Yoshihashi, giving the victory over to Chaos for this match. This now gives Yoshihashi a 3-lead momentum victory, televised momentum victory heading into Castle Attack. So the other 2 times he got the victory over G.o.D, I'm including this victory in this match, and then at the New Beginning he got a victory over Tangaloa with a simple cradle pin. And then I'm not sure if during the New Japan Pro Wrestling shows at Iwate and Yamagata, if they count, those weren't televised wrestling shows, so they're not going to be factored into my analysis at this point in the podcast. However, Yoshihashi manages to get submission victories over G.o.D, and at one point Tama Tonga just played it off like G.o.D has been in the game for 30 years, so it's understandable eventually G.o.D's time will come when he decides to retire, so that's no big deal. Yoshihashi can keep those victories over G.o.D. However, no one in Bullet Club is really talking about that Yoshi has gotten the cradle pin over Tangaloa. I know it probably frustrates him, and probably talking about it wouldn't be the best strategy, especially when he's gonna be facing Yoshihashi at Castle Attack Night 1 in a singles match. I really hope that Tangaloa has done his studying and is able to overcome and not be surprised by a cradle pin and lose the match. Not saying that he will lose the match, but I'm just saying that I hope he studied enough so that way he could counter it, and for him to get the victory over Yoshihashi when comes Castle Attack Night 1. This momentum and this build means everything to Yoshihashi and G.o.D. They have been teaming for a good while, and they are great as tag team wrestlers. They have the same chemistry and the same thought patterns. They do a lot of combination moves, and they're very great together in the ring, the same way as G.o.D. But take the tag team element out, and you're left with singles competitors. At one point or another, all 4 of these men were singles competitors. Before Tangaloa came over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, he was in NXT as Camacho. He was there with Hernandez, and he had a little bit of work within WWE. Then he just came over to New Japan Pro Wrestling and aligned himself with Tama Tonga and aligned himself with Bullet Club, and there goes that history. Tama was once a singles competitor as well. However, him and G.o.D have some history together in New Japan Pro Wrestling. They actually teamed up as a tag team, but obviously that was very short-lived. It did help Tama in the long run to get a feel for New Japan Pro Wrestling and call New Japan Pro Wrestling his home, and now he's Bullet Club and he's teaming with his brother, so it all worked out in the end. Tama's backstage comments, he still downplays both Yoshi and G.o.D, and after doing some slight research, I can see why. Yoshi is a phenomenal wrestler. So is G.o.D. G.o.D has a lot more accomplishments than Yoshi. Together as a tag team, Yoshi and G.o.D are really good against G.o.D. However, to wrestle smartly and safe does not bring victories when you're in the ring with G.o.D. And sometimes that is what G.o.D and Yoshi do. They play it safe. I understand that they're the baby faces and G.o.D are the heels, but if you're going to ever go into war with any Bullet Club members, you better bring your dirty side of professional wrestling, meaning use a referee to cheat, try using some distractions, try taking G.o.D off their game, because G.o.D is great at manipulating the rules to their advantage and manipulating the referee to get advantages on their opponents. But if you as the opponent is not doing the same input as your competitors, then you're never going to break through that glass ceiling that's been holding you down to take the tag team championships off of one of the best tag teams in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So come Castle Attack Night 1, it's going to be Yoshihashi versus Tungaloa. Yoshi already has a victory over Tungaloa with that cradle pin from the New Beginning. I hope that Loa study that and will not get tripped up again and potentially lose the match. Loa has a lot more talent and a lot more craftiness as a singles competitor, better than Yoshihashi. So I'm giving my prediction win to Tungaloa in that match. Now, for the other match on that same card of Castle Attack Night 1, we will have Tama Tonga taking on G.o.D. And this is going to be an interesting matchup because they have history. And maybe G.o.D. can bust out something new in his moveset to get Tama off his game, even though Tama is pretty crafty himself and will use everything that he can to his advantage. So who's gonna win? Tama. I'm not about to bet against Bullet Club, and that would be wrong to bet against Bullet Club, even if Bullet Club has been coming out on top depending on who they have in the match with them, and then versus not coming out on top. But either way, they're still winners at heart because we're still talking about Bullet Club, and then we're also talking about the guys that they're fighting, but we're mainly talking about Bullet Club more. If both Bullet Club members, Loa and Tama, come out victorious on Castle Attack Night 1, this will only inflate their egos and prove their points that both Yoshi and G.o.D. cannot dethrone G.o.D. And then at that point, G.o.D. will probably be looking for new challengers for their tag team titles because Bullet Club is the one that always makes demands. You as the competitor never make the demands to G.o.D. and or the Bullet Club. As we learned in the backstage comments when all three members, Tama, Loa, and Jay White, went after Ishii, G.o.D. and Yoshi. Very great backstage comments. If Yoshihashi and G.o.D. manage to win their respective singles matches come Night 1, that's just gonna set G.o.D. to be more angry and frustrated at the situation. And when comes Night 2, they better be on their A game because Night 2 of Castle Attack, G.o.D., Tama Tonga, and Tungaloa put up their IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships against Yoshihashi and G.o.D. I'm confident that G.o.D. will retain their championships, and hopefully we will get a rematch for the 6-man Never Openweight Tag Team Championships with Jay White with them. Together, all three men are seamless in the ring, and they work really well with Ishii, G.o.D., and Yoshihashi. Aside from all that, you guys can definitely leave me your thoughts on social media. You can tag me at Marie_Shadows to tell me who's going to win their respective matches. Is Loa going to get the victory over Yoshihashi, or is Yoshi going to get the victory over Loa? And is G.o.D. going to get the victory, or is Tama going to get the victory? So if you're not following me on Twitter at Marie_Shadows, let me know what you think. If you guys want to leave me a voice message on anchor.fm/Square Circle Podcast, where I can play your thoughts on the next podcast episode, just hit that voice message over on Anchor and just leave me a message. If you want to take it a step further, I have a community growing over at Substack. It is a newsletter. I have some wrestling articles on there. Go over and just sign up. Be easy, simple. theringcrew.substack.com. I will have a article up previewing these important matches and the stories behind them. And if you guys enjoy what I do, head over to the YouTube side, search up Square Circle Podcast, help me get to those 100 subscribers so I can tell you the URL rather than just saying go look it up. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, leave some comments. And this has been my analysis of the Road to Castle Attack. We have one more Road to Castle Attack show on the 25th. And then it's straight into the 27th and the 28th of Castle Attack. Until next time, guys, you have been listening to the Square Circle Podcast. I am your host, Marie Shadows, and I'll see you guys on the next one.